Oh, it appears that it's finally time for me to talk about the Mother series. Now, what confuses me is, why haven't I done a video on this topic before? Well, as you may have known, I was going to do a review for Earthbound Beginnings. That never happened. So, I'm going to make up for it by doing a countdown on the series. Now, I didn't want to do anything generic like boss fights or songs, rather moments. Why moments? Because this series has several funny, sad, or just weird moments. Even dating back to the original, it still had moments like these. And it couldn't just be 10, I had to expand it to 15, because that's what this series deserves. Now real quickly, before I do anything else, this video isn't scripted. I had a script written, but it got deleted. But don't worry, I'm going to try and make this seem as scripted as possible, even if I had to do retakes. Also, most of the entries are from level 3, so yeah. And I wish I didn't have to tell everyone, but you know the internet. There are obviously spoilers in this list. I'm gonna get started. PK Flash? Oh, my eyes! Okay, never mind. Let's just get to the countdown. In the town of 3 in Earthbound, Ness and Paula get trapped in some basement. So Paula has to use her psychic powers to call someone else who is destined to come on the journey. Jeff! And at the time, Jeff is at a boarding school, I think? Anyways, with the help of some of his friends, he gets over the gate and starts going around to find Paula and Ness. Now, one problem I can see with this right off the bat is Jeff starts out at level 1. Which at this time is really low level. You're probably at level 20, 30, something like that. Luckily though, the enemies here are about weak enough for Jeff to take out. You can also take a detour and go to the shop so that you can recruit a bubble monkey, which is actually required. That doesn't mean that he's good in battle though. You know what, I love this part of the game because it has that real sense of adventure. Also, it feels like another beginning, as in like this was another part of the game near the beginning. Then again, how is Jeff going to find Ness and Paula? Simple, he's going to go talk to his father, Dr. Donuts, to use a machine to reach them. Fortunately though, that school is very far away from Dr. Donuts' dad. So where do you go on this slow journey? Well, you ride a Plesiosaurus, you go for a little handmade dungeon by a man named Dungeon Man, and through a semi-Stonehenge. You even go through a cave at one point, which has one of the Sanctuary bosses, but you can't fight it because Ness isn't with you. Only Ness can fight them. Even then, he'd probably wreck you. Also, Jeff by himself is a really unique character. He's the only character in the game that doesn't use PSI. Instead, he uses machines. You can find scrap parts around, and sometimes whenever the party rests, he can make them into certain machines. And even weapons. You'll probably just start out with some air gun at first. And even though you're more than likely not going to get any of Jeff's machines at this part, the air gun does just fine. Jeff reaches the lab, gets into the machine, and it crashes it. But hey, the area he crashed is where Ness and Paula is, so that's good. He breaks the lock with a key machine he gets way earlier, and they're free now. I like this part of the game a lot. Even though Jeff doesn't have psychic powers, he still manages to hold his own throughout the whole journey. I'm really not a fan of Earthbound Beginnings. Now, if there's one thing I can give it though, it has a pretty good soundtrack, for Famicom standards anyways. And for this entry, I have 2 moments where the soundtrack really shines. One of the last places in the game, you can find a little nightclub place. And if you get a ticket, you can go on inside. However, before we get to the entry real quickly, I want to mention something that's actually really hilarious. You see, there's this person in the place that asks Nintendo if he wants a drink. And if you say yes, then the police come in and arrest you. Sure, you're released, but you lose your weapon. I wouldn't say it's entirely worth it, but it's still funny. But as I said, that's not this entry. No, this entry goes to Nintendo and his friends singing on stage. And another part that we'll talk about in just a moment. I don't know what this was, but it just felt like a sigh of relief to me. It's strange. Plus the music is calming, and even though it's some dumb 8-bit dancing, it's just really calming to watch. And it's definitely relaxing after you've gone through the swamp level.
What are you doing in my swamp?
So pretty much this is the reward. You went through the hell that was the swamp, now you get a nice little song and some 8-bit dancing. But that's not the only scene of 8-bit dancing. Whenever you go through the other hell that is going through the Mountain Toy caves, you go through another hell that is Mountain Toy itself. And if you decide to go to a rest house, then Teddy will say that he needs to go call someone, while Nintendo and Anna go to the back. And they dance. Even though that they don't even show any affection towards each other through most of the game. Once again, another relaxing moment. Even though it's followed by something really horrible. And to close off this entry, Anna asks Nintendo, does he love her? Why am I mentioning this? You can say no. Enough said. So you're making your way to the very top of the Porky Empire building. The last couple of floors were pretty intense, but this one may be the most intense of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the toilets, the restroom area. Well, I mean, yeah, they need to have a restroom area, obviously. And there's a whole floor dedicated to it. Welcome to the Porky Empire building Toilet Dungeon. Moreover, there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of toilets. Witness as all the doors don't have any locks on them, so you can be a pervert if you want to be one. Watch as our bathroom signs attack you with PK start. Wait, what? And you can even set up reservations in any toilets. One example? Well, one of them is reserved for the Ultimate Chimera. Yeah, don't bother him. He just wants to have a peaceful poop time. I have the mindset of a 5-year-old. And to end your tour of the Porky Empire building toilets, you may marvel at the delightful, amazing, gracious king toilet that is called. I don't know what to say. It looks really pretty. When I tell you the toilet was always the throne, and I didn't know Porky's would be a golden toilet. But like people can peep on him because he doesn't have a stall around it or anything. Because screw this. If I have to ask a question about this place, why the heck is it so high up in the building? Why can't it be in the bottom floor? But hey, that's the only complaint. Oh, you better head there because they have really luxurious toilets there. I'm not sure I can't keep this joke going any longer. I'm so sorry, everybody. In the Osho Castle, or however you pronounce that, there's a special artifact that Duster and West need to retrieve. But there's a door blocking it, so, I'm not sure. How do you get inside? How do you get past that? Oh, simple. Just do the secret technique dance. Amazing. Call this a wasted entry, but come on! This is amazing! I don't know why I put it this high, but you know what? Never mind, it's freaking amazing! The song makes next to no sense, along with the dancing as well. Wow, why would this be some sort of thing that, some sort of dance you would do to open an ancient door? It makes no sense, and I love it that way. I'm sorry that this entry is short, but you know what? Just witness it. It's something that can only be seen to believe. I'm so sorry that it got so out of hand back there with those jokes. So I'm gonna make that up to you guys by adding in this serious moment. Very, very, very early on, and by very early on I mean Chapter 1 and Mother 3, the Pigmasks start a forest fire near the town of Miley. Then the father of Lucas and Klaus and the local fireman Thomas, who does absolutely nothing, go to investigate. Upon further investigation, the fire seems to be started by these firefly creatures. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're fireflies, even though they may not look like them. Oh wait, it's a pun! Back to being serious here though. These things are like aggressive. Look at this fire! fire! How did such little creatures cause all this mayhem? And to make matters worse, Lighter and Phil, or a little small family of two, are living in a log cabin deep in the forest. So not much surprise, their house catches fire, and Phil was left inside. You'll need to use Flint's skills to their max to get through this level, because there are some actually really strong enemies here. Fortunately though, Flint can use his skills to raise his attack and defense. And whenever you get to Lighter and Phil's house, you see Phil for a moment, but I think he gets chased off by something. Whenever you go on inside, another firefly creature is in the house, catching it on fire and stuff. Look man, you did your duty, you can go now, please. So after you fight off this little mini-boss of sorts, Flint goes upstairs, and you have to use a dash attack to break through the wood to save Phil. As Phil and his injured father escape the forest, they eventually go to a nearby picnic table, lie down and stuff, and it starts to rain, ending the forest fire. And with a little nice piece of music to accompany it. So quite a rather quick and intense moment for the very beginning of the game. And you know what? I enjoy it that way. Alright, so you know from the very start of Earthbound Beginnings that something's not right. Seriously, in what world does a sentient truck attack you? Oh, it appears that all the problems in Earthbound Beginnings' world is caused by an alien. An alien named it's Gaius. Now, I actually don't know what his intentions are. The best thing I can think of is in Youngtown, where he kidnaps all the parents. Basically, where he just leaves all the kids there to have to take care of themselves. That's pretty sad. But you know what? I'm wondering why the heck those kids haven't gone all Jimmy Neutron. So from what I can assume, I think he's kidnapping people. If you're wondering why, I think it's because George stole some of his information of his planet. Specifically, PSI. And if you're wondering, George was one of the two people who was abducted back in, years before Earthbound Beginnings takes place. But either way, if that is his intention, then, well, he's already failed. Twice. And whenever you collect all 8 melodies in Earthbound Beginnings and go to his hideout at the very tippity top of Mount Atoy, you find out just where he's been keeping these humans. In tubes filled with water, I think. Making them drown. That's freaking horrible. And whenever you reach the peak, his spaceship starts crawling down, and then he fights you. And his attacks are literally indescribable. But what interests me more is his way of talking. He tells Nintendo that he's thankful for what his family did. If you don't know, George and Mary actually raised Gaius. And unlike all the other humans, Gaius actually wants to save Nintendo, even though he's still attacking him. So yeah, Gaius is quite the weird creature. And this is without mentioning his form in Earthbound. Gaius is usually referred to as one of the creepiest and scariest things in all Nintendo history, and you know what, I think I can agree. But you know what, I think I'm more or less on the mysterious side than anything. Oh, it's such a welcoming place in Earthbound. It's a great beginner town with a bunch of shops like burger place, a bakery, and a place where you can buy equipment and stuff. If you want to keep it that way, then you're going to have to save the world from Gaius in Earthbound. And just as you're about to do that by traveling through the phase distorter to reach Gaius and fight him, unfortunately, the machine can't be powered without a meteorite piece. I mean, where are you supposed to find one of those? That's why I would be asking if one didn't crash at the very beginning of the game. Alright, simple, just go to the top of the mountain, grab a meteorite piece, and it's nighttime here. What's going on? Oh, hold up, why do you storm in here? Well, Gaius has actually taken over on it, and it appears that it's finally time for me to take back everything I just said about on it. This place goes to a welcoming, nice first town, to now one of the last levels in the game, and it's freaking terrifying. Just imagine living in this place. You see, the people here are actually hiding in their homes just to stay away from these aliens. And even after all this time, you can go and revisit Ness's family. But reuniting can be done later. You need to get to the very top of that mountain, grab that meteorite piece, and go. There's no sort of boss here, because that'd be kind of unfair after climbing a mountain filled with enemies. But the return to Onett was just freaking terrifying and unnatural, and that only gives you more motivation to complete the rest of the game. In Multi 3, once you finally beat the boss of Chapter 3, the game just skips ahead in time. Precisely 3 years late. And the first time I saw this, I was like, what? But you know what? It was a step in the right direction. Over time, Lucas has finally grown into someone who isn't just a wimp anymore. And heck, even society has grown. First off, Miley used to be like some old village, as in it was pretty rustic. But with the help of the once evil pig masks, they finally fixed it into a more modern town. Or the pig masks, good. Oh well, I mean they built a training camp on Miley, so I'm not sure, I guess that's fine. But hey, no biggie, whenever they finally introduced money, it only took Miley 3 years to find out that they need some form of currency. Oh, look at that! The frog's driving a car! And they even have a pretty decent train station. Some great advancements to a small town. Question is, did they need them? Actually, kinda they did. So what I found, whenever you finally reach the last My Sanctuary place, Ness actually passes out and goes to Magican. Pretty much a land of his imagination. And you know what? It's freaking weird. I mean, the music isn't really that normal, and you see a bunch of people from the past and stuff. I mean, you even see yourself twice, I'm pretty sure. And Ness is in his pajamas. Which, yeah, I guess that's to signify that this is like some sort of dream. But it's not just any normal dream. It's a dream to fight off Ness's evil. So first, you need to make the long journey there. Except it's really hard because this is pretty much an endurance run, and the last thing I like in RPGs is endurance runs. I hate the feeling of getting weaker and weaker without finding a way to heal myself. Luckily though, you can recruit some flying men for free to protect you. But there are only 6 of them, and if they die, they stay dead, so use them wisely. But you should only have to use about 2 of them. Also, you get the Casey bat here, which sucks. It just barely hits. And when you get to a certain part, you reach the Sea of Eden, which is where the evil of Ness's mind is located. But as if you weren't put through enough stuff, you have to fight 3 Krakens. Although they appear on the overworld, so you can dodge about 2 of them. And whenever you reach the evil of Ness's mind, it's just a Moni statue. You know, it's not even said to be the Moni statue, it's just using the sprite of the Moni statue. And yeah, this boss is kind of hated, and this is probably one of the few moments I don't like in Magican. It's mostly because it has PK rocking, which is pretty much the only enemy that has that move besides the final boss. And it has life up as well. The 2 things that made Ness incredibly strong, the boss also has. Whenever you defeat it, you get rewarded with one of the biggest stat boosts ever. You get stat boosts from every single location you visited. So many level ups, you'll probably have over 700 HP whenever you beat it. All this time, Ness has been held back. And finally, you defeat the evil of Ness's mind. And you get a huge stat boost for it. Now Ness can show off his true power.